Drowning in spreadsheets and manual processes? Bonterra Apricot is the smarter, faster way for nonprofits to manage programs, track outcomes, and actually show your impact. Find out how at bonterratech.com/nonprofit-hub. Welcome back to the Nonprofit Hub podcast. I'm your host, Megan Spear, and joining me today is Ken Miller, who is an author, speaker, mentor, business owner, and from what I understand, all-around nice guy. Real excited to have Ken on the show today. We are going to be digging into a topic that I don't think we've talked about yet, at least this season on the podcast, around mentorship and coaching and sponsorship and what it really means to empower nonprofit leaders. So I'm really excited to dig into this. Ken, welcome in. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Megan. It's my pleasure to be here.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey that led us here today, your background with nonprofit folks and your overall experience before we dig in here.
Sure. I think it's somewhat good to give a little background because it explains my why.
Yeah.
And why do I give back so much to the philanthropic community, because that's what I really do. So real quick, in 1962, I was born. My mother was a teenage runaway. My dad was unfortunately a drug dealer and a pimp.
Wow.
And I ended up for adoption at birth. So I did 6 years in foster homes. I was adopted when I was age 6, and I moved from New York to Anchorage, Alaska. So a lot of people know me in the field, Ken from Alaska. Oh, did you talk to Ken from Alaska? But anyway, I grew up in Alaska. I was what they call precocious. I was a National Merit Scholar in high school. Accepted to Harvard. I went to Dartmouth College, got my degree from Dartmouth College. Graduated with a degree in fraternity with a minor in drinking. And it did not do me well as soon as I got out. But
I know a couple people.
Yeah, I wasn't the first.
Yeah, I've met a couple of those guys.
I got out and went into the corporate world, in corporate sales. Did that for 2 or 3 years, but unfortunately, I had a substance misuse problem, predominantly cocaine and alcohol. And so I ended up within a year being homeless on the streets. Wow. And I was to remain homeless for about 20 years. And in and out of jails, institutions, and 3 prison terms. Did many years behind bars. And then finally in 2007, I was released. I had no skills. And I was fortunate enough to get a position as a development director with a soup kitchen. I knew that world, but at this point, I'd been clean and sober for about 4 or 5 years. And I took to it like duck to water, fell in love with the community. And so that's how I entered the field of philanthropy, but really into the field of fundraising.
That's so interesting. I'm sure we could do a whole extra episode just on that experience and that background. But I'm going to venture a guess. And I know one of the things that you're passionate about is that mentorship and that coaching. And I'm going to assume there had to be some people along the way that helped you significantly in that way, in that process to get to where you are. Is that where your passion came from? Or is it because nobody helped you and you want to give somebody else a better experience?
When I first got out of college, there were a couple of gentlemen who did mentor me.
Okay.
And this was 1985. I'm 21, 22 years old because I didn't have a strong father figure. That's the main. And I was also looking for a Black gentleman older that could show me the ropes.
Sure.
So I did do that for a couple of years, but then again, with the relapse, I ended up on the streets. And I probably have some mentors on the streets, but I'm not going to count them. So I get out, and in 2010, I was awarded an award from NAACP Anchorage chapter. And when I went to make my speech, which I did not know I was going to make a speech, I go up there and I said, you saw these young men and women that walked across the stage. My charge to you, Mr. and Mrs. Black bourgeoisie from Anchorage, Alaska, is to reach down to these young men and women and mentor them, support them on their journey. My word is my bond, and I'm going to do that. So I got off the stage. I went to the last gentleman that I saw receive an award, and I've been mentoring ever since 2010.
Wow.
I've probably mentored about 40 or 50 young men, all persuasions, but predominantly Black men.
I love the impact because the ripple effect of that then is so powerful to think about.
Yes. And in fact, the name of my organization or group. They call it a group. And this is always for free. It's called the Pass It On group of mentoring. And so right now we have 4 generations of Black men mentoring Black men. And again, that's a very specific field.
Sure.
But I also mentor individuals from other backgrounds. And I do a lot of mentoring in the fundraising world itself. And those gentlemen now are all over the country. Originally it was just Anchorage, but now they're all over the country.
So as we sit here recording, we're coming to the season where a lot of folks are just graduating from college. They're maybe starting those first jobs. We see a lot of nonprofit folks that enter the field over the summer coming into maybe those first roles. If you were speaking to those individuals, those new grads, those brand new green in the field, what would you encourage them to do, or what process could they follow to go find a mentor? Because I'll give you an example. So for me, it was always like, I loved the idea, but the idea of going and asking somebody who's that much further ahead in their career felt really intimidating. And so I feel like I let myself miss out on a lot of opportunities because I didn't shoot my shot or go about it because I wasn't sure how to ask for that.
So what you're looking for is you're making the ask. Now, you may be new to the fundraising fields and you're not understanding what it means to make the ask.
Yeah.
So what we do as fundraisers, whether it's major gift work, whether it's annual campaign, whether it's planned giving, you're making the ask. And the ask is very simple, a question desiring a response. And the only responses that you will get are yes, no, and not now. Those are the 3 responses that we get. So what we do is we identify, and I'm pretty big on this, is try to identify someone that you respect their walk and you respect what they've accomplished. And then what I recommend, and I teach this in one of my classes, because a lot of times I'll just call up and say, can I take you out for a cup of coffee? I'd like to pick your brain. And what I mean is I'd like to ask you some questions. And for most people, they're so comfortable with that because it's not hubris so much in that somebody sees I have value and something that I may share with them. And that the conversation goes well. Very simply, hey, would you mind mentoring me? Are you open to mentoring me? I am very, very curious. I am hungry to learn, and I'm hungry to have someone let me know maybe what some of the obstacles or areas of challenge that are within our field in any field.
Yeah, that's a great point. So let's talk about then what mentoring is and what it isn't. Give me your perspective on there. What should the mentoring relationship look like? What is the goal of it? And then how do we make sure that it becomes like a solid foundation from the start?
So the first thing you have to look at is antithesis or look at opposites. First of all, mentoring is not coaching. That's number one thing that a lot of people misunderstand. Coaching is a paid engagement. When you get coached, it's a paid engagement between the coach and the coachee. Mentoring is an engagement and or relationship between the mentor and the mentee. Mentoring, you listen. In coaching, you ask a lot of questions of the coach, seeking answers. But mentoring is much more where the mentee is doing most of the listening and the mentor is doing most of the talking. That's a very common point. Mentoring, always free, always. Coaching usually has a fee-based system to it. And we talk about a third one, which we'll talk about a little bit later, which is workplace sponsorship, which is the third component. So we have the mentoring, and different people mentor different ways, but there is best practices. Believe me on that. Been teaching this for 15 years. I've been mentoring. At one point, I had 29 men all over the country that I mentored for free. But now I'm down to 10 because I had to cut it back. It was just taking too much of my time. Coaching is almost always time delimited in that there is a time frame, 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, whatever it may be. Whereas mentoring is open-ended. Good mentoring is open-ended. There's no time. I've been that same gentleman in 2010 that I met, Xavier Mason is his name. I still mentor him. Still, every quarter we meet. 15 years we've been meeting. Okay. So let me just say this is one of the most important things that I say. When I sit down with an individual gentleman, I only mentor men, I always will say this first thing. My goal and my only goal is to engender dreams. What is your dream? And then I shut up and I listen for the dream because I want to know what your aspiration is. I want to know your goal, but it's the dream. And I'm going to do everything within my power and my resources to assist you in obtaining this dream. I have sat down with grown men who have cried because their dream came true. It took 4 years. It took 6 years. But as a man, to have a dream that you didn't even know could happen, could come to fruition, to sit down with a man and say, what is your dream? And have them struggle with identifying because that dream has been taken away from them by their peers, by their parents, by their schoolmates, by their teachers. No, you can't dream that. You're just X, Y, Z. And then I say, no, I give you permission to dream. I say that. It was exact words. I give you permission to dream. Take your time and let me know what is your dream. It doesn't mean we can't change it in time. And then there's specific tactics that I have where I can assist you with to help engender that dream.
That's so good. I really like the distinction though, because I think you're right. Mentoring and coaching have tended to become synonymous when they're not. But the idea of, and maybe it's just my little corner of the world, but I feel like every time I turn around, there is somebody who is pitching me, wanting to coach me about something. They want to send me a proposal for the coaching side, almost to the point where it makes me not want to consider mentorship because I've put them into the same boat. And I think I'm realizing as part of this conversation, I'm sure other people are too, that there really is that distinction that we have to keep in mind. So I really appreciate that call out. You mentioned another one though, and I'd love for you to define a little bit of what that looks like. And that is the idea of workplace sponsorship. So what's that third piece of the triangle there?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that word or understand it or have experienced it or don't know they have experienced it. So workplace sponsorship is usually an individual in the C-suite or in upper management identifies individuals within the organization that they're going to quote unquote sponsor. So they're going to provide opportunities, whether you know it or not, so that you can grow because I see value in you. I see potential in you. Good workplace sponsorship is about the individual that you see this potential in that you want to enhance. So I'm going to send you to conferences. I'm going to get you on this team. I'm going to let you volunteer for this event that you'll get exposed to other individuals, whatever it may be. But it's workplace sponsorship. And good management and leadership promotes this. Who do you see? Who do you see at this level, we're this level, that we should invest resources of time and money in? The U.S. military has done this for years because they understand the power of colonels and we call flag officers or flag rank, whatever it may be, identifying lieutenants, identifying captains that we can send them to different schools because what we play for is so important. But we do this in the corporate. I didn't even know I was being workplace sponsored. I have done workplace sponsorship because I have the resources, capabilities, and also I can make the decision to do this for you. All you knew is you got sent to a free conference. No, I paid for it. Yeah. But I've done that for people within I used to be an executive director. So I've done that for individuals within my organizations. And then I'm an interim executive director. Probably never do it again. It's so much work. Being just a fill-in, I'm like a substitute teacher. Oh, yeah. Or a nonprofit, $1 million nonprofit, $2 million. So, but anyway, that's workplace sponsorship. So how do you find a workplace sponsor? First of all, again, they're identifying you, but you got to get around them. One of the best ways to find a workplace sponsor is to volunteer to do things within the organization, volunteer to be on this committee, volunteer to be on this team, volunteer to help out at this event. How can I get in front of those individuals that make the decision, that see that I'm hungry, see that I'm curious, and see that I want to grow within? And then the other one is go to your team lead or your supervisors or those in management and say, I want to grow. This is my dream, that in 2 to 3 years, I'll be the chief development officer. I'll be a development director. I will be a major gift officer, or I'll have a team in the annual campaigns or data management, whatever it may be. But I'm curious and I'm hungry, and I just wanted to let you know that.
Ever feel like you're stuck managing programs in spreadsheets and scattered systems? Apricot by Bonterra is a smarter, faster way for nonprofits to track outcomes, simplify reporting, and unlock more funding. With tools built for real nonprofit workflows and trusted by over 3,400 organizations, it helps your team grow your impact and better serve your community. You can meet us at bonterratech.com/nonprofithub today. From your experience, I'm curious the thought process here. If somebody is, because I think we have both members in our audience, right? We have the executive directors and the leaders, the C-suite leaders, if you will, and we have some folks who are just starting out. This is their first gig and they are young and hungry, ready to go. Do you generally find if somebody is maybe the C-suite level, the leader, is it best for them within their workplace to obviously do the sponsorship and then mentor someone outside of it? Or can workplace sponsorship and mentorship go hand in hand?
Workplace sponsorship, if done best practices, you don't know it. Okay, it's number one.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Now, the C-suite knows. They're like,
sure.
Hey, how's Bob doing? Hey, how's Jane doing? You know, and you go around. A lot of ones, you'll go around and say, well, how are your individuals that you've taken an interest in on behalf of the company, how are they doing? Okay, that's number one. Number two is I am not, this is a tough one. I'm not a big fan of mentoring within the organization, unless the organization is very big, because there's too many dynamics when it's like a direct report or even above a direct report, because if you go above the direct report, they're like, you're going to my boss to be mentored, or he's mentoring or she's mentoring you.
Yeah.
So what I say is, if possible, stay within the field if you want. This is one thing that's also misunderstood about mentoring. Most of the time in mentoring, it's not about technical skills. It's about supporting you on the journey. I'll introduce you to people. I will maybe send you some information or help you identify which sessions to go to at AFP Icon.
Sure.
So I'm giving you information. And then I'm also, but one of the big parts is supporting people emotionally. The biggest difficulty, I've been teaching this webinar workshop for 10 years plus. The biggest difficulty I have found is individuals of color or women trying to find mentors.
Yes.
Because most of the time, the individual that you're looking to that have reached this level or expertise or gravitas are men. I don't mentor women, period. I don't. I'm a married man. I've seen too much in my life. But it's hard for women. They want someone, and can I mentor with this guy? Or I'm Asian American, I'm looking for someone Asian American. So one of the things that, again, if you're looking to grow and it's not all technical, look outside your field. You will know and you will meet people who are successful in other areas. What we're looking for is, what are the principles of success? What are the principles of inter-organization dynamics, human dynamics, dynamics of working up, working down, and working sideways within an organization? Because I teach all that when I work with my guys. So those are the two main things I find. And then the other thing is, white men mentor white men. I mean, that's what they feel most comfortable with, or those ones that are approaching them. Okay?
Yes.
But they have a tendency to mentor, or even worse, workplace sponsor individuals that, oh yeah, he golfs too. He's 23 and
Sure.
I golf and whatever.
He reminds me of myself when I was younger.
Exactly. And you're
Yes.
hungry. And plus you might have kids and you're the head of the family. They may be old school in that area. And so it makes it difficult sometimes for them to look outside. That was one of the key reasons I started Men of Color in Development, is so that Black men could see that there are Black men in the fundraising field who have reached levels of prominence, success, and or competency. And so one of the things that I've spent a bit of time is identifying those gentlemen. And then I ask, hey, would you mentor young Black men in this field?
Yeah.
And 9 out of 10, sure. Who do you got? I'm not saying you need to do 29, but if you can do 2 or 3, it would be so great. And the young men, when I say young, anything up to mid-40s, they love it. They didn't think that they could find anybody in the field, especially, that would be able to support them.
Well, and it's interesting. Unfortunately, a podcast audience can't necessarily see your face, but the face that you made in response to somebody asking, let's say somebody in their 50s, early 60s, would you consider mentoring down a level? Even the face you made at pretending to be asked lit up your eyes in a really exciting way. And I think so often we don't realize the impact that we can have. Right? We're so in the trenches a lot of times that until somebody says, hey, I've got this guy, this girl, would you be interested in mentoring? For somebody to see that value in you and say, would you be willing to come alongside this person? It makes us realize our own value in a way that I don't think we get to do regularly in our career. And so I think that's something that I would encourage a lot of folks about, is you do have something to offer. Everybody has something to offer to the folks coming up behind them. I was struck by how excited your face got at the idea of being able to give back when you were just imitating somebody who was being asked that. It's cool to think about what that can do to somebody in their own career and make them really embrace the wisdom and the knowledge and the success that they have when maybe they might not see that in themselves regularly.
Let me give you another side of this. Many of the men that I've spoken to who are mentoring, it like gives them life.
Yeah.
You know what it's like to sit down with someone who's hungry to be a great fundraiser. But more importantly, I mentor the whole person. They're hungry to be a better father. They're hungry to be a better husband or partner. And when you see that light in their eyes, that, remember, one of the most important things I do as a mentor is I do this. I see you. I see you. I acknowledge you. I acknowledge you with your faults. And believe me, I dealt with some faults. I see you with your setbacks, your stubbing of the toe. I see you in your pain right now. I acknowledge that. And there's something else I always do. These are my suggestions, because there's one of two things that's going to happen at every group. Every time I meet for 1 hour with these gentlemen every 3 months. And the two things that are going to come out of that are very simply this. I will give you a suggested path. And a lot of times we just need to hear that this is probably what I was thinking I need to do next anyway. But
Sure.
I just need that validation. And then the other one is, I'm just going to listen. I'm just going to let you get this out. You have a safe, trusting place to get this out. And here I am, an older Black man that believes in you. Because again, I don't want to make this like a Black thing, but in our community, Black men, we've had some difficulties being fathers.
Sure.
Okay. And I'll just leave it at that. I mean, I was locked up with thousands, okay, that we were not there.
Yeah.
Including me.
Yeah. If somebody I want to speak specifically to those executive directors at the moment, because all of this sounds really great, but a lot of it has to come, especially on the workplace sponsorship idea, a lot of that has to come from the top. Culture is driven from the top. So if we're talking to the executive director specifically, what's the message to them? How do we inspire the rest of our C-suite to start thinking in that regard? How do we start to really ourselves be putting the framework on to understand where can I look at workplace sponsorship? How can I instill that in my team so that it becomes a culture where we're constantly empowering the folks coming up underneath?
So first thing I would say is learn about workplace sponsorship. You can Google it. It's not original with me. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
So you learn about it and then be intentional to do it. So because you have team leads, it depends on the size of your organization. I've been in an organization
Sure.
4 people, but I'm talking about you have team leads, you have management. And the thing what I would say is I would like for each of y'all to read this about workplace sponsorship. And then I want you to identify 1 or 2 people that you think would be worthy or would be good for us to sponsor. And then it is your position or your charge to keep tabs on them, observe them, question them. Because what we're going to do is we will allocate funding. I'll allocate time as you sitting down with that person, taking them to lunch, coffee, whatever it may be, to talk to them. How did the conference go? What did you learn at the conference? Oh, great. Excellent. Wow. Hey, we have this new team we're putting together that we're going to do X, Y, Z. Would you be interested? And if the person's hungry,
Yeah.
they would. And then if they're listening to this and you get offered a volunteer position or offered to volunteer for something that, again, could be taking away capacity of time, potentially a little bit of money, but I doubt that. But time, do it. Show that you're hungry to grow. And I love the word grow. And then the other thing is I'm a big one on leadership, leading by example. And so, yes, you have team leads here, but you can sponsor them. Support them, especially if they don't know anything about it, or even if they do. Because some people, you learn that you're being sponsored. Some people will come up to you and say, hey, I'm sponsoring you, or I'm keeping an eye on you. Because in the end, though, I always say this, when I talk to the individuals that are looking to be workplace sponsored, I said, you still got to show results. You still have to show results. So that's a little background there.
I love it. Ken, this has been so good. If somebody wanted to learn more or connect with you and find out more about some of this work or the coaching and consulting and mentoring that you do, how would they find you? What's the best way to connect?
LinkedIn Miller 84, or you can call me. I have 1 phone number. I'm not afraid. I've had the same number for 15 years, 907-250-8488. And I pick up my phone. And I
love it.
So I have no problem.
Oh, I love it. Excellent. As we wrap up, I've been asking everybody the same question as we wrap up the season. If you could give one piece of advice to a nonprofit leader, what would that be in this moment?
To a nonprofit leader, not a new individual coming into the sector.
Nonprofit leader.
Seek outside counsel. Get a mentor. Just because you're the CEO of XYZ. I own businesses. I own 5 businesses. And I have mentors. Alphonse Brown Jr. and a guy named Jim Posey. And Alphonse is pretty well known in the fundraising world, especially AFP. Past chair of the AFP Global Board of Directors. So anyway, that's what I say to do. Even though I mentor, I've been doing this for 15 years. I have book clubs, all that stuff. I still mentor because there are times where this gets tough, being a business owner or being even in the fundraising field. And I can reach out to him and say, hey, this is my truth.